am dealing with some shit, and I haven't really talked too much about it because I really haven't. I just haven't. Um, some may know, and some may not know, that I was born with a condition called spondylolysis. Sometimes it occurs later in life, and sometimes you can be born with spinal stuff, you know? And it really didn't bother me too much most of my life. At 12, I was diagnosed with it because my back gave out. I guess something gave out. I don't know what happened, but and I had my entire body just froze. It was in so much pain. I guess I don't know. I was 12. It was awful. I was then I went to like a orthopedic from when I was a kid, and he's like, "Well, you've got this going on." I'm like, "Well, great. That's awesome." So since then, I've had X-rays, and I don't know. There was something done in what was the early 90s, late 80s or something, that when like you're injected with some radioactiveness and then you're put on this metal plate that's on top of a machine, and you lay there for a couple of hours, and then there's this little screen on the side, and it just comes up with the image of your body, of your bones start coming up in these little green dots, and they all kind of form to form an image. I don't know what that is. I didn't know what that was then. Was that a CAT scan or a PET scan? I have no freaking clue. I was 12. What the hell do I know? My job was to go to school, make the grades, do good, play with my friends and stuff. I had no idea. Anyway, like think 3 years ago, it really all started coming to a head. And I don't know what triggered it, if anything triggered it really. But I started getting numbness in my foot when I'd walk my dog. Didn't really think too much about it. And a couple times my leg felt so heavy. It's like I was dragging a frickin' tree or something. And, I'm a walker. I'm a hiker. I can walk. I used to walk 5 miles a day for fun. And that is before doing errands. And I don't drive, so I walk everywhere anyway. So walking is a good thing, and I enjoy it very much. And so does my dog. He's outside at the moment. And so that got progressively worse and worse and worse. And we sought out a neurosurgeon, and he was cool. The team of neurosurgeons and specialists I have for this right now that I've had for the last 4 years for all this are amazing, absolutely incredible people. I could not ask for better folks. I'm putting that in there right now. That any of this bullshit is not their fault, because they're awesome. They've saved what they could. And see what happened. So it was a year-long thing of bullshit. First, and see what it was is that my sciatic nerve. This is eventually what we found out early on. I got an X-rays. I got an MRI, which was terrifying. There's not enough volume in the world to make me okay with that machine. It needs to die with fire. Does anyone else have things like that? What about MRIs? Do those types of things bug you? I'm not bothered by medical stuff or needles or blood draws or anything like that. That does not bother me. CAT scans, X-rays, PET scans, all sorts of scans. I can do all the scans, every single one of the scans. Bring it on. Radiate the shit out of me. It's cool. But MRIs. Oh, my cat? No. Kill it with fire. Just please kill it with fire. I swear, if there was any other way to do the MRI or do something like an MRI, I'd do that instead. But anyway. Oh, hey, everyone from that came in. If you're watching me from YouTube, I ask you to come over here to younow.com/Nikki's Essentials. Come on in and talk to me, because if you're over there and you're commenting, I can't see your comments, and I would love to have a conversation with you. Because it's story time, because I'm having a hard time dealing with things and I just need to talk about something to somebody. And I want you to talk to me too about things that are going on and bothering you, and we can commiserate together. And it's hard to do that when I can't see what you're writing, right? Okay, so back to the story. After the first round of MRI and X-ray, I'm on medical assistance. Luckily there's that Affordable Care Act thing. If that thing didn't exist, I'd probably be dead by now. So I've lived with this chronic pain for all of my life. It wasn't so terribly bad, but it was a chronic condition that I always had to be careful of. And it did, cause pain over the years. And as I got older, I'm 37 now, bones age, joints get shitty and stiff and fucked up, and it starts to hurt more and get stiff and harder to heal, and all the things like this spinal disease just get worse. So anyway, the MRI, the X-ray, everything is fine. But the thing with an insurance type of thing, like medical assistance run through the county, or run through the state, getting appropriate care, proper care is really, really difficult. I'm lucky that I'm able to get care at all and see the quality of neurosurgeons that I'm able to find. And they're all in the same WellSpan network here in Pennsylvania. And so that makes it really, really easy. All of my records are all in one place, and so we can all communicate together, and we're all on the same page, which is fantastic. Fan-fucking-tastic. I love that. But what they do is something called step treatment, where, it's like, we all know, all of me, me, my mom, my main neurosurgeon, Dr. Troy, and the specialist that he sent me to, and the specialist who deals with my specific issue, which is the dislocation, spinal stenosis, degenerative disc, affecting the sciatic nerve. And it was being irritated by the dislocated vertebrae and the mostly dissolved cartilage disc between the fifth lumbar vertebrae and the top of the sacrum, or S1. So it's the L5-S1 joint. There's no longer any thing in there. And the amusing thing was that my first X-ray set, the technician asked me, "What kind of an accident did you get into? I mean, goodness, look at these X-rays." Which I'm totally fascinated by X-rays and MRIs. I'm like, yes, let's do the thing. I like the thing. Amuse me. Holy crap, is that what my back looks like? And it's like the left side of my spine in the lumbar region, which are the last 5 bones in your spine. Sorry, I'm waiting for my dog. The left side of them, not like midline left, but like there's these processes, these bony bits on the outside that have completely chipped off, and they just, how like when you have an old sidewalk, it starts to crack, and then the crack just gets bigger, and parts chip off, and then the chips get bigger, and the chunks get bigger because it starts just breaking apart because there's little support in it anymore. And that alone located a spinal bone and stuff. What the hell is my cat doing? Get your claws out of my moldings! I love her, but oh my god. So, with the first set of MRI and X-ray, we figured out what was going on. The head of the sciatic nerve, which is directly connected to the spinal cord, was being irritated by the dislocated bone. It was being kind of pushed out and moved. And then, of course, it was moving funny because of the dislocation and the dissolved disc that was also jetting out. So it was getting rubbed and irritated and pinched. And because it was like that for so long, it grew a bone spur, which was one more thing rubbing against the nerve. Hello there, fleas. Welcome to here. Whatever this is, YouNow. I'm working on YouNow today. Anyway, so that's fun and interesting. So once we figured that out, we started with the step treatment that the medical assistants would allow me to. Is this part of the, like conversation, calling people slugs and things and whatever, or are you just spamming my chat? Which here's the cool thing: I don't have to let you do that because I can make you go away. And then I can let's see, Flaze is gone. Flex is gone. And Lewis is gone. And, yeah. I was trying to, have a nice conversation and greet y'all for coming and welcoming you to YouNow when you have to come and spam my chat with things or whatever the hell that was that was nowhere anywhere close to having a conversation about anything. It was just spam. Guess what? My room, my rules, you're gone. That's it. Anyway, back to the story. Figured out what was going on. Now the step treatment begins. And first I had physical therapy, which we knew was not going to work. And because it wasn't a muscle or a muscular issue. And no, I'm not going to guest you. There's no reason for me to guest you. No one has given me a legitimate reason to make you a guest. There's no reason in it. It's not going to happen. If you want to talk on cam, you can make your own channel and go call other people slugs and spam your own room. Not mine. Bye-bye. So, let's see. Then, anyway, it's not a muscular problem. So, as exacerbated as my neurosurgeons and I were, we had to do this so that we could get to the end game, which was surgery. We knew that is what had to happen. But insurance wouldn't allow us to do that right off the bat. So what we have to do is do all of these things, which actually cost more money in the long run, doing all of these things that are not going to help, and we already know this, because none of the things that we did were made to treat the issue at hand, which was the irritation of the sciatic nerve. It wasn't a muscular thing. It wasn't a need for muscle relaxers thing or prednisone thing. The ear was an issue with the spine, and it needed to be fixed because there were vertebrae out of place. There was a dissolved disc that was just kind of flying out and doing its own thing, and there were bone chips everywhere, making a big mess and just causing more irritation. So that's what we needed to do. It took us a whole year to get there. We did the physical therapy. I had 3 injections of steroids in my back, directly into my spine, in that nerve. Oh, that was not fun. And it was under local anesthesia, and it was fine. It really didn't bother me all that much until, and man, he's freaking good surgeon. And if I have to ever do that again, I want him to be the one to do it. But there's a point when the needle, which is really, really freaking long and really freaking big, he has to literally touch the head of the nerve, that part that has been so irritated. And it's a nerve, very delicate thing. He has to touch it because he has to put the medication into the nerve itself, not the surrounding tissue, into the nerve. So we did that. Cool. We were hoping it was going to work, or at least bring some relief. Maybe help to, like steroids do, they help to relieve inflammation. They can help to relax muscles a bit and maybe bring some relief and buy some time, which is all it was meant to do in the first place. However, the first injection only worked for about a month. And now you can only get 3 of these injections per 9 months, I believe. It might be a year. But the first one only worked for a month. It kicked in the next day. The 24 hours after that was so miserable. I could not walk. I was in agony. But of course, I don't get pain management. Fun. Not looking for opiates, looking for just something. Help from a doctor. Give me Tylenol 3. Give me Tramadol. Something light and easy. Something gentle. Nothing crazy. I don't need OxyContin or hydrocodone, although that works really, really well for me. But there are other non-opiate pain management options, and I was given none of them because they weren't an option, because they were called medically unnecessary. Oh, you're fine. It doesn't hurt. You're all right. Is what medical assistants basically said. The doctors, on the other hand, did not agree with medical assistants, but they couldn't do anything about it because of medical assistants' ruling on said thing. Now, the second injection took about a week to kick in. I had the first 24 hours of agony. It took a week to kick in, or just start to kick in. It didn't really fully kick in until a week after that. And it only lasted maybe 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of that, I could feel it wearing off. And the pain was back. I may look like a slug, but you're acting like a slut. So there you go. Bye. So guys, if you ever see people with the name of Flays, Flex, Lewis, or who else was that? Yeah, any of those, do not allow them entry into your room. And if they do and start causing a big mess, just block them, report them, because they aren't worth your time. They have a strange fascination with slugs. I don't know what it is. Maybe they need a little bit more salt, and so they can melt a little. And my salt is the report button. Yay! Because I'm an asshole and I really don't care about you. You slugs. You stupid little slugs who just crawl around and destroy crops. Nothing but bird food, honey. Nothing but bird food. Anyway. Now, the third injection didn't work at all. So I had 3 injections in the span of 3 months. I was already out of those options. So those didn't work. Let's see, what else did we do? We did. Well, we really didn't do much of anything else. Um, yeah, walk with the there. I was instructed to use a cane to, you know, work with heat and ice. I again was still not given any pain management whatsoever, and um, I don't know. It was a very miserable thing. And all of this stuff lasted about a year. Finally, by the time the year comes to a close, we're coming into fall again in fall 2014, I think. Just about August or something, we needed to, we were saying, what, this is it. We've had enough. None of this stuff is working because we know what the problem is, but we've done all the things that we were told that we needed to do before we could do the thing that we actually need to do. Is go in there and do a microdiscectomy or microendoscopy discectomy, and which requires its own specialist. I was lucky to get the guy who actually developed the technique, who works with WellSpan in York County, which amazing guy. Let me tell you, he's incredible and so sweet and very understanding. And so we were trying to get a final set of MRI and X-rays because there was we wanted the ideal thing was to do the microendoscopy discectomy because it was, while invasive, it was the least downtime, the fastest healing, the less invasive of any of the options that we had. I had fusion, a regular discectomy, where they seriously slice open things, cut muscle, and just make a really big mess to get the disc out and to repair things, or the microendoscopy discectomy, which was the most ideal, where they don't have to cut through muscle. They can just they can bypass it and kind of move it out of the way a little bit with the endoscopy tube and do it by camera with micro scissors and things. I'm not a doctor. I don't know those things, but the doctor needs to do the doctory thing. So that was the ideal thing. So we were trying to get the that's what we wanted. So we needed to get a final MRI and X-ray set to make a final decision between me and my team and my surgeons who would ultimately be doing the surgery, so that we could make the decision about what would be the best course of treatment. And, I read up on all of the procedures so that I would be educated, and so my mother would be educated. I mean, it's not her decision, but her and I are very, very close, and she's very supportive, and we wanted to make sure that everyone was on the same page, and that so that we could discuss a rational and the best option for what I needed to give me the best quality of life, whatever that happened to be. No, I wouldn't want to. The ideal was not to be with using a walker or a wheelchair or anything for the rest of my life. And luckily, it didn't end up that way. But I could adapt. People do it every day. But anyway, by the time September rolls around, the second set of MRIs was denied because it was deemed medically unnecessary. But yet at this time, I was no longer able to walk, period. That is not a figurative thing, that is a literal thing. absolutely literal. And I've been to the ER for pain management or trying to get pain management. I got a little bit of tramadol for a couple of days. Didn't do shit on a stick. Um, so there's that, and that's fine. I was miserable, but my doctors, being the awesome people that they are, they fought for me, with me, for me. They really put the big gun, pulled the big guns out and said, "Hey, look, stop being an ass. This woman seriously needs us to go in there and fix what is broken. We can fix something. We can do something so that she's not in pain anymore, or at least lessen the pain and give her a better quality of life than what she has now." She has no quality of life. She's a frickin' potato. Um, she's unhappy and in pain, and we can give her something better than this, but you have to get off your butts and let us do our job and let us help her. So, we faxed papers back and forth between each other and to the insurance company, and I had extra inspections or examinations by my GP, by my main neurosurgeon, by Krasminski, by McKee, by everybody in my team. I got almost every weekend, or at least once a week, I had an examination of some type, or imaging, or treatment discussions, or whatever, for an entire year. That is minimum 52, if we're talking one appointment a week, 52 appointments just for my back. There, of course, I had other things to do. I was trying to keep up with schoolwork for my associate's degree. I had things to do. Work, school, life. I'm a very independent person, and I like it that way. And my independence was stripped away from me by my back. And so, well, finally, we talked the insurance company to approve it, that this was in my best interest to do the surgery. So we need to get this MRI so that we know what position these parts are in that are causing the problem, and seeing which one of the three options would be the best one to do. Because for the microendoscopy discectomy, you have to have a very specific environment, I guess, in there to get it done successfully and well. And any surgeon worth his salt isn't going to risk the quality of the health of his patient just to make an incision. And my surgeons were incredible. But anyway, luckily, however, I had the perfect environment, just on the edge of the perfect environment to get it done. And so that was done, and I healed pretty quickly, really. And I kept up with my physical therapy exercises, even though I timed out of that because I'm only allowed to have 60 sessions per year, 61-hour sessions, 60 hours. And so I finished that on my birthday, on my 35th birthday, I think, pretty sure. Anyway, so that was that. And it was great. The surgeons were wonderful, and everyone was awesome. The aftercare was nice. I really didn't need a great deal of that anyway. And, yay. Let's see. The next thing, well, and everything was fine for a whole year and a half, almost 2 years now. No, it's been a year and a half. Um, there's some slight twitching in the sciatic nerve down my left leg, and it twitches 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the improvement and the healing that the nerve does, a nerve heals about 10 millimeters per month, I want to say. It's what I understood as I've studied. And so, you know, gave the nerve time to heal. It twitched for a while. It used to be pretty bad. Was allowed a little bit of tramadol after surgery, and I was put on gabapentin to help with the nerve issue, to try to regulate its electrical signals, because nerves both communicate electrically and chemically. And the twitching is from the electrical signals that are misfiring, because the insurance company had us wait an entire year with treatments that were not working, and in turn my sciatic nerve down my left leg from the head, which directly connects to the spinal cord all the way down to my toes, is damaged. Not too bad. I have lost some. I was able to regain a lot of definition in my leg, which was great. A lot of strength, muscularly. The nerve itself, with the misfiring and the constant twitching because of the damage, doesn't let me. I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. It's like when you're riding a bike, you have to push the pedals and stuff. Sometimes you need to put in extra power to get up a hill, or, to get out of the way of traffic or whatever. And my right leg, perfectly fine. Left leg is a little weak, and it's going to stay a little weak. There's nothing I can do about that, but I keep working at it. Don't want my leg to atrophy. Want to keep it as strong as I can. So, but I can still ride a bike sometimes on really good days. And generally I have a lot of really good days. I've even switched to an e-bike, so that while I can still ride and pedal and get the exercise from the bicycle, if I need to, I have that little oomph from the electric bike part, the electric motor, so that I'm not going to burden my nerve too much and get myself hurt in an accident or whatever, because my leg, I guess either gave out on me or cannot give the power that is need be, regardless of what I want it to do. I can only force it so much. And I can only train that so much. If the nerve doesn't work, the nerve doesn't work right, period. And you can only do that for as long as it continues to heal and improve itself. Now, about maybe 2 months ago now, I was walking my dog down the street, as we do, and I had this really weird pinch. It felt like a pinched nerve in the front of my hip, where it hinges against one's abdomen, around the hinged area at the front of the quadriceps. I didn't really think anything of it. It's like, oh, all right, we have a pinched nerve. It happens from time to time. Does it in my ankle too, and it does it because my nerves in my leg are fucked up. Okay, all right. So we were still a good half mile away from home, so it was very slow going, very slow shuffling, but we made it home. It was fine. I gave the next day a rest so that if there was any inflammation or whatever, I could get ahead of that and just rest the leg and the muscles around it to prevent further injury. Because that's something I have had to be wary of, but it hasn't really held me back all that much. I can still walk, not as far as I used to. I can still bike, not as far as I used to, and I have help with the electric bike thing. So, but I can still do those things, and I can still get my exercise that way, and I can still do my, gentle yoga stretches, which have been a lifesaver, let me tell you. That's how I put a lot of the strength back in my leg. Incredible stuff. PPT yoga. I see. Yeah. No. DDP yoga. Um, Developed by Diamond Dallas Page. Highly recommended if you've had any injuries or surgeries or nerve issues. It was developed specifically for people like us by Diamond Dallas Page, who, for those who don't know, was a pro wrestler and had many injuries, had to retire early, and had been working on developing this program with his physical therapists and his doctors for himself, but wanted to share its goodness and developed it further so that it could be utilized by other people in similar predicaments. But anyway, back to the thing. Now, I think maybe 5 weeks ago, okay, the nerve pinching, it was fine, whatever. 5 weeks ago, it happened again. And the next week after that, it was kind of pinchy, and my leg was a little weak, and I started getting my toes becoming numb again. Not a great deal. It wasn't a big thing. It was something that I've been keeping my eye on. The numbness is definitely a telltale sign that my sciatic nerve is being pinched again and being irritated again. 3 weeks ago, as a result of a premenstrual disorder called PMDD, triggered a back spasm. And it's done that before, many times. It's either that or it feels like my joints are being pulled apart. It's either one of those two things every single time. So that's a problem because of the sudden and dramatic drop in estrogen, and it causes all sorts of joint issues with me. But anyway, so the PMDD triggered a severe spasm, and it laid me up for 3 weeks. I was in a lot of pain, but generally it was manageable. It's like I've had worse. I just, take it easy, gentle stretching, stretch the piriformis, and gently work the glutes so that they don't start, pinching against the sciatic nerve, which is what I was trying to prevent. But I can only do that if it's going to be a muscular thing. It doesn't really help if it becomes a spinal thing. I can only do so much in that department. Now, the last, I think 2 weeks. I think the last week, I think we're going on week and a half now. It's gotten to the point where the pain is severe. that I can definitely tell that the nerve is being pinched once again by my spine. The sciatic nerve head is being irritated or pinched or something, and it is causing my foot to go numb regularly. I can't sit for long periods of time anymore, which means I can't game, which sucks because I love gaming. So the last week or so, I've been primarily on bed rest so that I can try to reduce as much irritation and create a good, stable environment for reducing inflammation with the help of some lovely herbage and, those lovely green leafy things. Unfortunately, that can only do so much. If the damage is coming from the bone, you can't really de-inflame the bone. And you can't really make the nerves work better. So, there's that. And a few days ago, it got to the point where I was no longer able to stand up straight. And just sitting on the toilet to do one's business, my entire leg would go numb. And standing up was an impossibility. And trying to shower and do day-to-day tasks such as cooking a meal or feeding the dog or walking him and things like that just sent shocks of like razor blades up and down my leg to the point where my entire leg would cramp from the toes all the way up to my hip, through my hip. It felt like it was going directly through my hip from, external hip, external thigh to the hip joint, all the way into the girly parts. And let me tell you, that is not fun. That is extremely painful. And it wasn't just once or twice. It happened 6 or 7 times, probably more than that the first day. Kept me awake. It woke me up out of a deep sleep. The pain woke me up out of a deep sleep. The next day, it was a little less, but it still happened. And then during the day this time. And I was desperate. I wanted to go to the ER, but I needed someone to come in and watch my puppy dog and take care of him because I didn't know how long I was going to be there, what was going to happen, if there was going to be emergency surgery. I didn't know, so I wanted to be prepared for contingencies because that's what I do. Because I have to worry about everyone else and make sure all of my critters are taken care of before I go and do something like that. And unfortunately, my mother was in Florida at the time visiting family. But I was able to hold on until she was able to, until she ended her vacation and came back. And she came directly to me, which is awesome because my mom kicks ass. That's all there is to it. No two ways about it. And so she's been up here the last couple of days. The first night she was here, the day she came, we went to the ER. I think it was probably about 9 o'clock. And we got checked in, triaged, and seen by a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant or somebody, I can't remember. But, I explained all what was going on. But she wanted the short story, and there really is no short story to this. It's all connected. It's all part of the same thing. But I tried to tell her it's the sciatic nerve. It's being pinched again. All of my doctors that are dealing with this are in WellSpan, so my records should show you exactly what is happening, what has been done, surgery, treatments, things like that. And she's like, well, what we can do is we can do an anti-inflammatory of some type, inject you with like 2 milliliters of something, and then we can give you a muscle relaxer, and what we chose was what was it? Valium in a low dosage, just as a muscle relaxant, not about anti-anxiety through and for an MRI. So we did that, and it seemed to be a little bit better. The nerves in my leg, it's like I could feel every single one of them, and it's like every one of them had its own little razor blade, and every single tip was being mutilated by something sharp that was both lava hot and glacier cold all at the same time, with shots of electricity going through them. So it was like tingling and pointy and hot and cold, and it was miserable, and I couldn't sleep. And my gabapentin wasn't making it better. It was making the sensation worse. Could not stand my leg being touched. I couldn't stand the sensation of anything on it except for the heating pad. That's it. Because I guess it kind of short-circuited them a bit. I even tried my TENS unit. It didn't work. So luckily we were able to make an appointment with one of my neurosurgeons who was actually in town and, working. And we saw her yesterday. And so we have a better game plan. And so we're waiting on an MRI appointment, on approval, so that I can get an MRI appointment. But she has me on prednisone to try to reduce inflammation, and gave me some more Valium so that we can keep the muscles relaxed. Not because we know it's not going to fix the problem, but at least to try to reduce pain and allow me to become like slightly functional, where I could take care of my basics, like going to the restroom, cleaning myself, feeding my animals, being in the kitchen a little bit, making simple meals where I don't have to stand all the time, and walk a little bit with aid of a walker, and for longer chores to be able to sit. I'm in the kitchen now on a stool. I have a stool in the laundry room, but still it's still, there's no pain management. And it does nothing about the pain. It helps. I'm not going to say it doesn't help. It helps. Having the muscles more relaxed allows my joints to work better and keeps me a bit more functional throughout for a longer period in the day. But it doesn't solve the problem. And it was never meant to. It's something to try to keep me sane, really, because I'm very independent and I like it. I do a lot of things, and I'm a very active person. I walk, I hike, I bicycle, I love to cook all sorts of stuff. I love to game and make YouTube videos, and I just haven't been able to. And last time, I don't think I'm adapting as easily as I did to the last time. It came on so sudden. And I know that the functionality of my nerve, of my leg, my left leg, while in the grand scheme of things is very slight, but it's noticeable to me. It has declined from, the previous bout of hell and surgery and stuff. And now I'm in this realm of unknowns. Like, am I going to be able to, how hard are we going to have to fight to get this MRI? Am I going to be able to have pain management because this is excruciating? How is the functionality going to be what's the next step? What kind of surgery is going to be happening? Because likely the next step is something we discussed during the first thing, was fusion. And that is a really, really, really hard surgery on a body, hard to bounce back from. Um, really, I mean, one can function with it, but it's difficult. Range of motion is greatly diminished. Um, the possibility of severe chronic pain all throughout the rest of one's life is increased dramatically. Then I would hopefully not, but in many cases, one is essentially disabled for the rest of the life. And it's a very, very difficult situation, and there's this other realm of unknowns of, how long is this red tape bureaucratic hell road going to take this time? How long do I have to suffer? And then, because my bipolar brain is being an asshole right now, I've already been down the road of the really negative, self-harming thoughts. I've already had those. And I'm very angry. And I'm trying not to be violent. Not towards any of my animals or people or anything, just rage. And I'm trying to channel that somehow. And it's, what are my long-term prospects looking like? What do I, is this something, do I have to look, am I going to have to start looking into long-term mobility devices? And what would be my best options? Do I need, a more permanent type of walker? One of those motorized scooters for longer distance things like shopping, or motorized wheelchair. I don't know. Will I be, how far am I going to be able to walk without any form of assistance? Will it just be a cane? Will it be just a walker? Or will I be fine with, most of the time, with occasional bouts of discomfort? So it's a realm of unknowns, and I'm not adapting to this thing very well. I'm angry, likely because I'm extremely frightened. I'm terrified. And then with all of this stuff happening with who shall not be named, Orange One, in the Oval Office right now, trying to do whatever the fuck he's trying to do with the Affordable Health Care Act, which has literally, on multiple occasions, saved my life. Because while I do work, I'm an audiobook narrator, I'm still low income. And I'm also a student, and I have, I try really, really hard. I'm able to keep the lights on, but it's not enough. And the cost of living keeps going up. And it just seems like he's looking out for the big guys and giving the little guys all these promises, but is just spitting in our faces and stabbing our backs every step of the way. And it's not just me. There are millions of other people in this world. There are hungry children, homeless people, our veterans, who need this surface of medical assistance, and trying to find a way to make healthcare more affordable, decent healthcare more affordable. And it's a very, very scary world out there. There are so many uncertainties, so many unknowns, and I'm terrified. I'm not adapting well. I'm frustrated because I'm unable to do the things that I want to do, the things that I need to do. I'm not independent right now. As independent as I'd like to be. I can do basic things at the moment. I can clean myself. I can use the restroom, not necessarily easily and most certainly not pain free. But I can do those things. I cannot walk my dog. I can feed him. Luckily, we have a yard, and I'm in a small condo building with only 10 units, and we've all been here pretty much from the beginning, 6 or 7 years, and they're all aware of the situation. So, and you know, we're a community. We're kind of like a little family here. We all take care of each other, whatever we need. You know, when my neighbor up the hallway, Jess, she has to go out of town or it's going to be a long work day. She either gives me the keys or brings her dog over here and I help him and we hang out together. And my dog and her dog are like best buddies. And so that's a lot of fun. So, I mean, we take care of each other. We help each other out if there's injuries. You know, my other neighbor down the hall, Skip, had torn his Achilles tendon, and while he was laid up, and you know, we did grocery runs for him. And I don't have a car, and I can't take him to a doctor, but I could, you know, if I was going to the supermarket, I would take my large cart, we have a shopping cart in the common room. So I would take that so I could get more things. I'd go to the grocery store, or I'd go up the bus, take the bus up to CVS if I had to go get prescriptions, and I'd go get his prescriptions too, you know, and we would check on each other, make sure we're okay. So I'm not alone, and I know that if I need something, I've got people. And that's important. So that makes me feel a little better and not alone. And that's important because my headspace is not good at the moment. I'm trying very, very hard to stay more positive and to take care of myself and not overdo it and rest and stay on top of things. Luckily, I work from home being an audiobook narrator. I have my MacBook Pro at my bedside so I can work from there easily and get high quality product out of there. I can still hook up my camera and do, you know, YouTube things, make simpler videos. I can do my schoolwork there because my classes are all online. I go to American Public University, which is, while a physical college, also has all of its courses available online. And it's a primarily online school. And it's a public university, so it makes it a lot cheaper. And it's a really good school. So I'm keeping up with my classes for my bachelor's degree that I'm working on now. So all of that stuff I've got covered. That stuff are not things that I'm worried about. Those things, those big things, I've got covered. I can work, I can do school. But, you know, you get bored, you get antsy, you get cabin fever. I like to be outside and doing things. And I do have a very simple walker, you know, right here. And I've jerry rigged it with the bag so I could carry something. But it's a very basic one. It's not really one for more active people for running errands or things like that. It's really just to get around the house because, you know, I need to have the assistance and the support because I don't have really good balance right now because my left leg is extremely weak. And it's easier for me to use that than my cane at the moment. And I already had to borrow that from my mom. So it's just a whole bunch of unknowns. It's frightening to me. It's I'm frustrated. I'm bored. There's things I want to do. I couldn't even get down to the mailbox down the hall. This is a small building. It's only 10 units. And my condo is only 800 square feet. It's tiny. I mean, it's perfect for me. I love it. But I couldn't even make it down to the frickin' mailbox today to check to see if I had anything in the box. And getting up at a time to make breakfast was impossible. I wasn't able to get out of bed until 10. And that was only to go to the bathroom and let the dog outside into the yard, which I'm very lucky we have a yard. He can go outside and play for a while, which is nice. And I have a deck, so I can go out onto the deck and be outside. But I can't, like, take a walk with him or even by myself or anything. I have an electric bike and there are stabilizing wheels, so I guess somehow I could jerry rig that up as some form of like a motorized scooter, but in bike format, using something that I already have, so I wouldn't have to get a whole new thing. It's a great bike. It's really comfortable. I could probably change out the seat to something a bit more comfortable. It's only 26 inches, and so it's perfectly on the ground, and with the stabilizing wheels, it'll be stable so that I won't have to worry about it too much. And I can vary the amount of electric motor assistance from the battery. And with complete battery power, I do like 20 miles. And I'm in an extremely small town. I think from end to end, it's about 5 miles across. And there's a bus route, and it does have handicap accessibility. Every single bus does. My pharmacy is right up on the bus route. So is a grocery store. The other 2 grocery stores I can get with my bike, and my bike has baskets on it. I still have to finish putting on the front rack that I took off my other bike, my old bike, and put the panniers on that and the top basket and get that finished. But see, I can't do that. I cannot finish preparing that bike for use because I can't do fucking anything. But really, I think because this just came on so fast, I hadn't had time to really adapt to it and to prepare for it to get worse and get the things that and prepare by, obtaining and gathering the things that I need around me to make day-to-day life easier to manage, I'm starting to do that. I have the walker, very basic, but it's something. And when I have really good moments, I do take my time. I sit in the kitchen, I wash my dishes, and I prepare like a big pot for the day. It's really easy, like a soup. And then my mom was here the other day, picked up things that were really easy to make. She got some Amy's. I love Amy's. And some, luckily, more healthier options because, well, yeah, I don't have a gallbladder and I don't like eating unhealthy things, and I'm active. I've never been athletic, but I've always been really, really active. And, I've got some nice chicken going on, so I could easily put that in the oven, tin foil, some vegetables, cook that up. That'd be nice. And she's got some frozen veggies. We have, broccoli and green beans and peas. I have some lunch meat, cheese, bread. I have a thing of eggs so I can boil up an egg in the morning or poach it or whatever. Got some corn. I have some leftover stuff that too. And of course, the unhealthy thing, pizza. Came with pizza. Always have to have the pizza. It's good to eat healthy, but it's also good to treat yourself too. And I have some carrots frozen here that I can just put in a steamer and cook those up. And my bottom one, I have some mushrooms and a veggie tray she picked up. Some leftover stuff from when she was here, a couple of meals. I have some hummus. Fruit, lots of fruit. Pears, Macintosh apples. I have peanut butter for those. I love Macintosh apples and peanut butter. Some mandarins, really good, natural, whole milk yogurt. Not fucking around with my yogurt. Don't want chemicals in my yogurt. Yeah, lunch meat. I have some Smart Balance or Earth Balance eggies. Some, what do I have in here? I have some one pot Swedish meatballs that I made in my Instant Pot. I have a shit ton of rice. I have some jam. So I think, and bananas and cake. Sushi rice, maple syrup, Mio, electrolytes, herbs. Like, I have a shit ton of herbs up there. I'm running out of space for herbs. Snacks. Because, come on, snacks. Crackers. I'm ready. I'm good. I've got crackers. Crackers are important. Oh, yes. Crackers are my friend. I am a cracker addict. I'm not ashamed of it. Got some Cheerios. What else is over here? Pasta sauce. Steel cut oats. Soup. Honey Nut Cheerios. Granola bars. Pasta stuff, as my grandpa would call it. Chunky peanut butter. Num num num. Good stuff. So, I'm good. Easy foods I've got. They're not too terribly horrible for me. Yes, there are Oreos there. Okay, come on, health police. Take me to prison. I'd probably get better health care over there anyway. But anyway, thanks for listening. It's been rough, and I just really needed to talk it out, and especially, and because it goes over to my YouTube channel directly, it's like talking to my other subscribers as well. So anyway, don't forget to, if you enjoyed this talk and would like to come and hang out with me in the future, don't forget to follow me and thumbs up my little thingy witchamabobber if you liked it. Or if you're going to watch it in the future and you want to watch the full thing on my YouTube channel, Nikki's Essentials, you can do that. Please subscribe. I do a lot of gaming over there, and once I'm able to, I'm going to do more cooking like I used to do. I'm sure I'm going to be doing some other things and getting a little bit more creative and making some shorter videos, doing more things like top 10 random things about me, Q&As, and day in the life of an invalid, day in the life with someone with chronic pain, day in the life of someone with a spinal disease, day in the life of someone who keeps getting screwed over by medical assistants. That one sounds like a lot of fun. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out. It has meant a lot, and I hope to talk to y'all very soon. And anytime we're in here and we're talking, feel free to contribute. And, if we're having a bitch fest, come on in and bitch with me. We will commiserate together and be there for each other and just be awesome. So, as is said in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, just be awesome to each other. Good night, everybody.